talking about my experiences and life lessons with dyeing my hair with henna. Specifically, Lush is Caca Noir and Caca Brun. This is the smaller, I've already cut this. It actually comes with more. It actually looks like this. My first time dyeing my hair with henna was an adventure. It's really not as messy as everyone says. If you plan ahead. I did not plan ahead. I was impatient. I am always impatient. So my solution was, nah, I don't need all the accessories. I'll just dunk my head in this bowl of henna and rub it in. Did not work so well. This is what I'd suggest if you want to dye your hair with henna. The color that you see now is completely henna dye. I have other dye underneath it, but the color that it was before was kind of a light reddish brown. It had faded a lot. My hair was very, very blonde up until about April, maybe March. So I had a couple of layers of Avita semi-permanent, permanent hair dye on top of that. And I just found it wasn't staying. I kept going back every 6 weeks and having to re-dye my whole head. And even though Avita is pretty gentle on your hair, I still felt the difference in my hair texture. It felt like it was getting a little bit more damaged, especially with having to go back every 6 months or 6 weeks. And the whole reason I decided to go back to being my natural dark hair color was because it was just too much effort to stay blonde. I was sick of going to the salon every 6 weeks and spending tons of money getting highlights. Ironically, still have been doing that until I found henna. The great thing about Lush's henna is it's made with cocoa butter. And it's actually like a hair treatment. So even if you don't really want to dye your hair, but you kind of want to do a treatment on your hair, it's a great way to go. You just have to kind of prepare for it. The henna comes in these blocks, like this. This is Caca Brun, which I realize means like poop. But it's effective, so we'll forgive its name. I have the brown and I have noir, the black henna. Basically, the difference is the level of indigo, at least from what I've read. So I didn't want my hair to be a kind of medium brown. I wanted it to be this sort of dark chocolate color. So what I did is I basically used half and half of each. I took a noir and I took a brun and I cut both in half and put it together in a mixing bowl. The way that you actually melt down the henna hair color is I cut it into pretty fine pieces. I used a metal mixing bowl. I have seen people use metal mixing bowls. I know for chemical hair color you shouldn't use anything metal, but for henna it didn't seem like it mattered, at least from what I've read or from what I found. What I did is I boiled a bunch of water in my kettle and literally just poured boiling water over the henna, waited until it melted down a bit, and then mixed it up with a spatula. Tip number 1, I was really worried about diluting the henna potency. So I didn't really add enough water. Don't do that. It made my life very, very difficult because when I was actually applying the henna, it was still kind of dry. It wasn't properly mixed. The color came out fine, but it's not ideal. Add water to the point where when you're mixing, it feels like a brownie batter. So still kind of thick, but a liquid consistency. If you were to take a spoon and, kind of pick up some of the batter and drip it down, it would still drip off the spoon. Number 2 is to actually use a hair coloring kit. I didn't do this. I used my hands and gloves and like rubber yellow gloves, and it was not easy. If you have a hair coloring brush, that will be amazing for getting your roots. My roots didn't really take the color enough because I didn't actually apply it very well to my roots. So the brush will come in really handy for that. And then you can section your hair, start off with your roots like you would see a colorist do, and then move out through the rest of your hair. Plastic gloves, very important because this stuff stains. I didn't actually find any staining on my face or anywhere along my hairline. I was pretty diligent with using a little face cloth and going around and mopping up any bits once I had my hair all done. But if you leave the henna on your skin for the amount of time, at least that you're going to be leaving it on your hair, you're probably going to notice some parts of your skin will be noticeably different. As for timing, I left mine for about 4 hours. I've heard everywhere between 2 hours, 12 hours. 4 hours for me was the perfect amount of time. Something to remember is that henna continues to develop over the course of, I believe, 24 to 48 hours after you've rinsed it out. So when I first took my took the henna out of my hair, I was sort of not disappointed, but kind of thinking, I thought it'd be darker. And then it did. It developed quite a bit, actually, over the next 24 hours. So first of all, don't be too concerned if you remove your henna hair color and you're kind of like, it's still kind of late. Give it a little while. If you still find it's too late, the great thing about henna is because it is gentle on your hair, because it doesn't hurt your hair, and because, especially if you're using something like Lush's bar, because it has the cocoa butter and it's actually a nice treatment for your hair, you can do it again if you need to. If you need to do it the next day, you can do it and you're not going to damage your hair. My last piece of information about doing this is I really didn't want super red tones in my hair. I wanted a warmth, but I didn't really want my hair to go very red. You can actually manipulate how the henna color is released a bit by whether you cover your hair or leave it uncovered while it's developing. Now, if you cover it with plastic wrap, that's going to bring out more of a red tone in your hair. If you just leave it as is, clip it up in a clip you don't really care about, and let it sit on your hair for 4 hours, you're not going to get as red a tone. So that's my experience with dyeing my hair with henna. It's how I color my hair from now on. If you've had experience with using henna of any kind, I want to hear about it. If you have any tips or tricks or things that you think should be done differently, I want to hear that too, because I'm still kind of new to it. And if you have any questions, just leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye.